Somewhere beneath a quiet stretch of the Czech countryside, there is a door. It looks like nothing. A slab of earth, a patch of grass, maybe a garden shed if you're not looking closely enough. But press the right sequence, and that door opens onto something almost nobody will ever see. A hydraulic ramp descends into solid rock. Blast doors, thick enough to withstand a direct strike, seal shut behind you. And beneath your feet, hundreds of feet of granite. Away from the surface world, there is a swimming pool, a wine vault, a private hospital wing, bedrooms finished in materials you'd expect in a five-star hotel, not a fallout shelter. This is not a movie set. It's real estate. And the people buying it are some of the richest human beings on Earth. For years, the story of extreme wealth was told through yachts, private jets, and mansions with ocean views. But quietly, a different kind of purchase has been creeping into the portfolios of the ultra-wealthy. One that isn't about being seen, but about disappearing completely, on command, into the ground. To understand why, we have to go underground ourselves.
In the last decade, a small industry has grown around a very specific customer. People with more money than most countries' GDP who want a place to go if the world above them stops working the way it's supposed to. Companies most people have never heard of, Opidum, Vivos, Survival Condo, Rising S, have become the quiet architects of this movement. And one of them, Vivos, has reported that inquiries and applications have increased more than 2,000% year over year. The people paying attention to this trend aren't conspiracy theorists. LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman has said that at least half of Silicon Valley's wealthiest individuals maintain some form of apocalypse insurance, whether that means an underground bunker or simply a backup plan for disaster. It's become such an open secret in tech circles that buying land in a remote country has its own unspoken meaning. As Hoffman put it, saying you're purchasing a house in New Zealand is itself a kind of code, a wink that says more than the words themselves.
So what exactly are they preparing for? And why underground? The instinct to build shelter beneath the earth is ancient. Long before nuclear weapons or global pandemics, human beings dug into hillsides and caves to escape war, weather, and each other. But the modern bunker, the version we recognize today, was born out of the Cold War, a period when entire governments poured concrete into mountains, preparing for a war that, thankfully, never came. One of the most famous of these projects began in 1984, when the Soviet Union and Czechoslovakia jointly built a top-secret facility constructed over the course of a decade. It was designed for political elites, a place where a government could, in theory, keep functioning after everything above it had been destroyed. For years, it sat sealed, a relic of a war fought mostly in the imagination.
Then, in 2013, a real estate entrepreneur named Jakub Zamrazel acquired it. What had been a Soviet-era shelter became the foundation for something new, the Opidum, now marketed as the largest privately owned survival complex in the world. Zamrazel didn't just preserve the bunker, he transformed it, proving something the market hadn't fully understood yet, that the ultra-wealthy didn't just want to survive, they wanted to survive well. Across the Atlantic, a similar transformation was happening underground in Kansas. Buried in the Kansas plains sits a decommissioned Atlas F missile silo, once designed to launch a nuclear warhead in minutes. Today, it holds something very different. Developer Larry Hall converted the silo into Survival Condo, a residence protected by walls roughly 9 feet thick and a domed shell built to military specifications. Inside, residents don't live in gray concrete cells. They live among stainless steel appliances, home automation systems, and shared amenities that include a swimming pool, a rock climbing wall, and a movie theater. Units start around $1.5 million for roughly 900 square foot penthouse buried in what used to be a weapon of mass destruction. It's a strange kind of alchemy, turning a Cold War relic built to end the world into an asset built to outlast it. But if Survival Condo represents shared, community-based preparedness, other projects push towards something far more private.
For the world's wealthiest people, privacy has become harder to buy than almost anything else. Cameras are everywhere. Data is currency. Reputations can collapse in a single viral moment. In that context, an underground residence offers something no penthouse or private island fully can: total invisibility. No windows for drones or paparazzi to peer through. No street address for the curious to find. Just a door in the ground that only the owner knows how to open.
This is part of what drives interest from Silicon Valley. PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel has pursued a residence in New Zealand designed to be partially embedded into a mountainside, blending a retreat from public life with genuine physical shelter. Reports have also described a bunker being built beneath Mark Zuckerberg's compound on the Hawaiian island of Kauai, accessible through tunnels connecting separate structures on the property, complete with its own power, water, and food systems. Whether the motivation is disaster preparedness, personal security, or simply the desire to never be found, the underground has become the last true refuge from a world that never stops watching. Building a livable space that can survive worst-case scenarios while feeling nothing like a shelter is one of the great engineering puzzles of luxury design. It starts with the shell. Some designs, like Opidum's Lair Heritage model, descend roughly 50 feet below the surface and are built using the same high-density concrete formulations used in nuclear power plants, engineered to NATO standard blast and ballistic protection. At Survival Condo, the structure's dome and thick walls were built to withstand tornado-force winds, flooding, and even a nearby nuclear detonation.
Air is the next problem to solve. A sealed structure is only livable if it can keep producing breathable air indefinitely, filtering out radiation, chemical agents, and biological contaminants, while regulating humidity so the space doesn't become a damp, unlivable box. Power has to be self-sustaining too, often through a combination of generators, fuel reserves, and renewable systems designed to run for years without outside resupply. Water systems need filtration and recycling capable of operating in total isolation, because there's no municipal supply hundreds of feet underground. Then comes food. At Survival Condo, residents have access to a 5-year supply of preserved food, alongside hydroponic gardens across 2 floors, designed to grow fresh produce indefinitely. Some facilities go further, incorporating aquaculture systems that allow residents to raise fish as an ongoing protein source. Medical facilities round out the essentials. Private clinics stocked and staffed to handle everything from routine care to genuine emergencies. Because in a true isolation scenario, the nearest hospital simply doesn't exist anymore.
Communication systems tie it all together, allowing residents to monitor the outside world without being reachable by it. A one-way mirror between the shelter and everything happening above ground. What separates this new generation of bunkers from their Cold War ancestors isn't the engineering, it's the design philosophy layered on top of it. At Opidum, living rooms and bedrooms feature virtual window panels that simulate outdoor light and scenery, creating the illusion of a world that, for all residents know, may no longer exist above them. Interior gardens use engineered lighting to mimic sunrise and sunset cycles, keeping something as fundamental as circadian rhythm intact, even hundreds of feet below the surface. Some proposed underground compounds include gardens, a spa, a cinema, and a dedicated wine vault, blurring the line between fallout shelter and private members club. It's a deliberate choice. The goal isn't merely to keep someone alive, it's to keep someone comfortable, entertained, and psychologically stable for months or even years. Because the real threat to survival in isolation was never just the environment outside. It's the mind coping with what's inside. There's a reason billionaires, of all people, are drawn to this kind of preparation. Extreme wealth often comes with an intense awareness of what can be lost: control, safety, certainty. For people who've built empires by anticipating risk before it arrives, an underground shelter isn't paranoia. It's simply the next item on a very long list of contingencies. The same instinct that leads them to diversify investments or higher personal security, just applied to civilization itself. There's also something deeply human in it. Every era has produced people who prepared for its worst imaginable outcome, from castle builders to Cold War families with basement pantries. What's changed isn't the impulse, it's the scale of resources now available to act on it, and the depth, literally and figuratively, to which that impulse can be built out.
Not everyone sees this as forward thinking. Critics argue that the entire industry runs on selling fear, that companies profit not just from shelter, but from convincing wealthy clients the world is teetering on collapse. There's an uncomfortable optic to it, too. A small number of people spending tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars on private survival infrastructure, while the vast majority of the world has no such safety net at all.
Executives at these companies see it differently, framing their work not as fear-mongering, but as an extension of responsible planning, describing their clients as forward-thinking individuals who understand the value of preparedness in an unpredictable world. Whichever framing you find more convincing, one thing is certain: the industry itself doesn't seem to be slowing down. As this market matures, the line between bunker and residence is disappearing entirely. New designs are being built to serve as full-time homes, not just emergency shelters. Spaces where owners might live year-round, using the underground not as a last resort, but as a genuine lifestyle choice. Engineering firms taking on these projects report growing demand from private individuals and even institutions seeking secure facilities in remote, undisclosed locations, often maintaining strict confidentiality so intense that even the builders themselves rarely meet their clients face to face.
What began as a Cold War contingency, a government's insurance policy against mutual destruction, has evolved into something almost unrecognizable. A private, personal expression of wealth, control, and foresight, built not to be seen, but to endure. Every civilization leaves behind two kinds of architecture: the buildings meant to be seen, monuments, towers, homes that announce their owner's success to the world, and the buildings meant never to be found. The billionaire bunker belongs entirely to the second category, and that may be the most revealing thing about it. Because underneath the swimming pools and the wine vaults and the simulated sunrises, these spaces ask a question most of us would rather not think about. What would you actually do if the world you know stopped working tomorrow? For a small number of people, the answer isn't a plan. It's a door in the ground, already built, already waiting. And whether that's wisdom or excess may depend entirely on which side of that door you're standing on.